Hello, my friends, and welcome to a beautiful Saturday here in Dubai. The weather's changing. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, man, I was just so sick of feeling hot and sweaty. So now it's starting to cool down. We're here. It's a beautiful Saturday, November 16th. And today we want to talk about that very, very critical, controversial word called happiness. Yeah. We know in the red pill space, so many women seek this very elusive thing called happiness. And they have left countless amount of marriages and relationships because they weren't happy. So that's what I want to explore today. So my friends, subscribe, please. Trust me, you don't want to miss any more of this content. Come on now. A lot of you are watching me. Come on. It takes nothing from you, but it means a lot for me. I'm going to start taking sponsors on the channel just to try to get the income up because, I try not to beg you guys for money. So I'm hoping to be able to get more and more support from sponsors. But that will only happen if you guys are subscribed. Okay? Subscribe and watch the videos. Simple. All right. And of course, book a chat with me on askanolderman.com. That will also support the channel. And yes, I am also doing something free again. Join the membership site so that you can interact with like-minded people and have a good time. It's just a great way to network with other people from around the world. Take it from me, man. It's a lot of fun. And that also gives you the opportunity to interact with me one-on-one every 2 weeks. I have a 2-hour session with all the members where we all meet on Zoom, and you can literally interact with me or other members. Okay, my friends. So let's get into this very hot topic because I want to dig deep into it. This is a No Fugazi show where he asked this very important question to the young ladies on the channel. I love this channel, No Fugazi. You guys go over there and support him, of course. We are all here to support each other. But what I want you guys to listen to is how women think about life, commitment, and this word called happiness. All right, so let's get into it.
So it's like if you're in a relationship with a man and he wasn't making you happy and
hypothetically in the future, 25 years old, 26, you have kids with a man and he's not making you happy, would you sacrifice your family for your happiness, or would you sacrifice your happiness for your family? Like the family that you built with that man, your family.
Yeah. Not your mom and your dad, but your family.
Yeah.
If I'm not happy, I need to focus on myself, because if I'm not happy, I don't want to accidentally take it out on my kids or my family. And then they have issues growing up because of my issues. I don't want them having the same issues that I'm giving them. So, yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I would definitely go for my happiness. And I don't think that's sacrificing the family actually when you seek your happiness, because if you make an example for your children that your happiness is most important, then they're going to learn that as well. And it's actually a better decision for the family, from my perspective, to make decisions in favor of your happiness. Because what is life about if we're not trying to be happy? What's the point of staying in a relationship or a marriage or a family unit if you're not happy? Okay.
And what about you?
I agree with Penny again. I've actually been there and done that, and I did choose my happiness. And I'm happy I did, because one of the number one rules of staying alive is self-preservation. So there's no way I can stay in an environment where I won't thrive, I can't think, I don't feel free. I'm not doing that. All the women before us that did, I think there's many variables as to why they did. I just learned recently that I think women were able to buy property in 1974. I think things would have been different if we would have had the freedoms that we do now. So I know from personal experience, I'm choosing happiness. And I also think that by choosing that happiness, I'm making the best decision for the family.
Okay. And what about you?
So I remember being in a relationship, and I was getting beat, and I was getting cheated on, and I was getting disrespected every day, but I wanted to give my daughter the family that I didn't have, and I was sacrificing my well-being. And what I didn't know was that my child, even though these things weren't happening in front of her, she got ears. You know, my sadness was rubbing off on her. My misery was rubbing off on her, and I couldn't create other relationships. So I will never be in that space again. I will never sacrifice me for no one, not even my children. Because, you know, your children, they grow up, they make their own lives. And now I can't even remember what this person was like.
Okay.
And we better off, me and my daughter are better off without that. So,
You know, it amazes me how, especially with black women, where they always use this excuse of I was either emotionally or physically abused, and that's the reason I had to get out. But it blows my mind that they all have kids with this man that apparently abuses them.
School sweetheart after 5 years of marriage and 4 babies, and I recently started dating. And let me tell you something that I've noticed we do. Myself and several of my friends have gotten out of either marriages or long-term relationships that were abusive, either physically, emotionally, verbally, toxic. Maybe the partner didn't hold their weight, whatever. I'm not just speaking to my experience. And I've noticed something, that we start dating and we meet someone and they're doing the bare minimum and we think it's everything.
This is another narrative that's just getting old. Like, how the fuck does it take you 5 years, but not only 5 years, okay, you're kind of dumb, you're naive, you don't know any better, but 4 children? So he was toxic and abusive and all of these things for 5 years, and you still decided to pop out 4 children with him. Like, make that make sense. Like, is it one of those situations where you think that a baby is going to make the relationship better? But then what gets me is you literally tell on yourselves, because then you say you have a bunch of friends that are going through the same thing or have been through the same thing. And what do you think that is? Y'all are in each other's ears talking about how miserable you all are. One person will say, oh, my husband's manipulative. So what does that do? You start to think, oh, maybe my husband is manipulative too. So you start seeing him as a liar, a cheater, doesn't tell the truth, is a horrible person, because all of your friends are also in your ear. But not only that, is your friends, once they become single, will then make you think that the grass is greener on the other side. So you all end up divorced, miserable, and unhappy, supposedly because of a toxic relationship. If it's so damn toxic, then why did you have 4 children? Why didn't you stop at 1 child? Because you...
In other words, these women literally give up the most precious part of themselves before understanding the man that they're with. They breed for a wife beater or a woman beater. They breed for an abuser and then cry foul when what? The child is there? I don't get it. I help me understand this freaking line of thought coming from a woman, because I don't get it, guys. How can you not spend enough time with a man and have the intuition, because we know female intuition, guys. I mean, hey, it's amazing. Women have amazing intuition. But when it comes time to pick the right man that won't beat their asses, they have a problem. Oh, that intuition apparently just falls apart. They breed for this man, then he starts beating them. Make that shit make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me.
What about you?
I was going to say sacrifice, but then hearing them, I'm like, oh, wait, that makes more sense. Like what Spirit said with like, you know, that comes like your kids will be happy if you're happy. But then if you're sad and depressed, then they're just going to like follow in the lead of their parents.
Okay. So you're going to choose your happiness over the family. Okay. What about you?
I think it's extremely circumstantial.
Yeah.
I feel like it's extremely circumstantial. The only way in which I would sacrifice my own happiness for my family, it has everything to do with age. Firstly, I feel like statistics already prove...
Age as far as your kid's age?
My kid's age.
Okay.
I feel like statistics already prove that living in a 2-parent home or having the love of a 2-parent home and seeing the support of 2 parents together already aids and abets at the level of success and lack of so many other things that you don't have to deal with. So if I have to put up with a certain level of... There's certain things I'm not going to put up with. So with what E said, I'm not putting up with abuse. I'm not putting up with certain things that I can't mask. But if me and my counterpart, maybe we're not in love anymore. Maybe we are not, we're not connected anymore. But I have no problem, emulating that love and proceeding to deal with somebody I don't care to deal with right now for the betterment of my child until my child gets to a certain age where they can understand that separation is okay. And, people grow apart. But until my kid is able to understand the idea of separation, I probably would sacrifice my personal happiness because I feel like as a mother, like your ultimate goal and point of being
purpose
is to literally raise the best human being that you can raise. You know what I'm saying? And anything that goes against that, I'm not with it. So yes, I want to see I didn't come from a 2-parent home. You know what I'm saying? So I would only want my kid to understand and be around. I don't have kids for that reason.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Who has kids on this panel? You're the only one.
I'm a 23-year-old.
23-year-old.
Yes.
Y'all 18-year-olds better not have no kids.
I'm praying to God. Nope.
Okay, fair enough. And I mean, with all of your answers besides her, this is the reason why women initiate 70 to 80% of the divorces, because you prioritize your happiness over your family. As nonsensical, as illogical, it doesn't make sense to do that. Women have a very solipsistic view. You think that the world just revolves around yourself, so you want to prioritize your own happiness. Well, happiness is fleeting. It's up and down. Why would you like any logical, right mind person? Why would you prioritize something that is fleeting? Meaning that you're happy at one moment, you're not happy the next moment.
Abused, that's okay?
Let me finish my point, and then I'll let you speak. You're happy one moment, and then you're not happy another moment. You get your period every month, which literally alters your mood. So you wake up angry sometimes. So here's a few. I actually was taking notes on a few of the things that y'all was saying. So in regards to, like you said, that kids, like if I am unhappy, then the kids will see me unhappy. And a few of you actually said that. And then the kids will be unhappy. Well, life, to be honest, isn't about happiness. Life is about purpose and duty. We were all put on this planet to procreate. Now, when you have a marriage, that's a duty. It isn't about happiness. It's a duty. You have some kids, and then it's always going to be ups and downs. You think these rich people that have millions of dollars, that they're just living a happy life all the time? You think the girl that's the most beautiful girl that you can never imagine, with no implants, with no nothing, she's all natural, she's still unhappy. She's still looking in the mirror like, oh, I should fix this, I should fix that. Like, you're never happy. And guess what? Men, we ain't happy either.
Can I ask you
all
a
the
question,
time.
Mr. Cooley?
I'm listening to this, and I'm really, really sad about the next generation of women, because I've already seen my 30, 40, 50-year-old women leaving their marriages because they weren't happy. We live in an overstimulated society. We have women today who get so much stimulation from the outside that their idea of happiness is really, really messed up. And what I want you guys to see is this particular video. This gentleman, this neuroscientist, broke it down very nicely. His name is Robert Luswig, a renowned neurologist. He dives deep into the heart of these concepts. And this concept is, have you ever wondered if pleasure and happiness are the same thing? And I found it fascinating, but listen to what he says. Listen to how skewed females' belief of happiness is.
Pleasure and happiness. A lot of people equate the two, but I'm here to tell you that they are completely different. Pleasure is short-lived, happiness is long-lived. Pleasure is visceral, happiness is ethereal. Pleasure is taking, happiness is giving. Pleasure can be achieved with substances. Happiness cannot be achieved with substances. Pleasure is experienced alone. Happiness is experienced in social groups. The extremes of pleasure all lead to addiction, whether they be substances or behaviors. Yet there's no such thing as being addicted to too much happiness. And finally, number 7, most important, pleasure is dopamine and happiness is serotonin. There's one thing that downregulates serotonin, dopamine. So the more pleasure you seek, the more unhappy you get. And Las Vegas, Madison Avenue, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and Washington, D.C. have very specifically and in a coordinated fashion confused and conflated the term happiness with the term pleasure, so that you can buy happiness. And in the process, we have become most decidedly unhappy.
You heard that. Pleasure is achieved through having things. The majority of women who complain that they are not happy, these are the women who constantly complain about their husbands not providing enough income to satisfy her freaking ability to buy stuff. They have turned this thing around. Women have used the word happiness for pleasure. And because they're not getting enough pleasure, they equate that to happiness. This is the problem that we have in our society. The man said it right. Happiness is achieved from being with others, contributing to others. That's what makes you happy. Others, meaning not being alone. That's what others mean, two or more. But you're going to give up your family for your happiness, which is the thing that you need to make you happy. You ladies just don't get it. That is why we get so many women on TikTok who say, I am unhappy now that I have left my family. I am so disappointed with the choice I made. I left a good man.
I would honestly sit here and say, as much as I've made the decision and the choice to divorce my husband then, I also regret it.
How old are you?
72.
What is something you regret the most in your life?
I regret that I had to get a divorce and my kids were like 7 and 12 years old. I never wanted to get a divorce. I hung in there as long as I could for 17 years.
So you stayed in a relationship that you weren't happy with for 17 years?
I wasn't unhappy the whole 17 years, but I was partially unhappy.
Because the pleasure they were seeking, not happiness, pleasure they were seeking was going back out on the streets and riding that CC. The pleasure that they were seeking is going to take those trips with his money after the divorce. And when that money run out, the pleasure was finished, and then there's no family, no happiness. It's a never-ending cycle for these ladies. But this comes from the massive overstimulation that women have put themselves through with the shopping. Every day that they open up the freaking apps, they're like, hey, they look at the DMs and it's full of men going, hey, sweetie, hey, baby, hey, good morning, beautiful. Oh, God, you're so beautiful in that dress. Oh, my God, I love your body. Oh, my God. The massive amount of dopamine that hits you every single day. Pleasure, not happiness, pleasure. It's like taking freaking cocaine. Pleasure. You spike and you fall. Doesn't bring you happiness, it brings you pleasure. Pleasure and happiness, two totally different things. I'm so glad that this man broke it down like this from a scientific perspective. So a lot of these women who were complaining that they were not happy, they were not getting enough pleasure from their marriage. The man wasn't providing enough stimulant. And the reason for that is marriages are not designed for pleasure. They will make you happy because you are fulfilling one of your natural goals in life, which is to procreate and to bond, pair bond with another human being. You are fulfilling the ability to accumulate enough funds and enough security so that when you get into your older age, your survival is much more secure than living in uncertainty every single day. You know that you have someone there who is willing to die and protect and provide for you. That is where happiness comes from. Your pleasure will derive from, hey, he bought you something today. Hey, he's just booked a restaurant. Hey, we're going on a trip. Hey, he's giving me some D. It doesn't matter. Those events that occur within the marriage is what brings you pleasure. Pleasure is getting your child to look at you and say, I love you, mommy. Pleasure is getting a big hug from your child. Now, those pleasures combined creates beautiful memories, and it ultimately brings happiness over the long term. Someone can't make you happy. Unfortunately, they cannot do that. They could bring displeasure, meaning if he's whooping your ass and he's putting you down every day, then that is not pleasurable. Over time, and if that continues over time and your body starts to break down and your mental health goes, then you will be unhappy. If you're not prepared to fix that yourself and realize that, hey, I might be the problem as well, identify the problems, not saying that you are, I'm just saying that women tend not to look at themselves to see if they're contributing to the problem. They tend to blame it on someone else because accountability and responsibility for women, woo, we know how that works, like kryptonite. So ladies, I want you to understand the difference between pleasure and happiness. I want you to stop using the term, I was not happy, because no one can make you happy. No one. You start using the term, this man wasn't making my life pleasurable. And then you analyze why that is. Because I can tell you, if you have any freaking sense at all, you should not have committed your body, a child, or time, energy, or money to an individual who made life unpleasurable for you. If a man is beating your ass, if you see any signs of that from day one, why the hell would you give him your womb and provide him with a child just to become a single mother? Because I can tell you, there's one thing that will bring you a lot of stress and pressure and frustration, all unpleasurable things. Over time, you will be unhappy with that situation. And then you expect another man to come in and clean up that shit. Hell no. You don't look for a man to become a cleanup guy. That's not fair to any other human being. Just for what? A used up banana? No. Oh, but I could love him. No, you won't. Men are not stupid. You only need him because the original daddy that you screwed up with cannot be there. You decided you made a bad choice. Yeah, I said it. So listen, my friends, I hope you understood this video. I hope you guys will share this with other women so that they can understand the difference between pleasure and happiness, because we need to start changing females' narratives. All right? So listen, my friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Book a chat with me on askanolderman.com and join our membership system. All right? So until next time, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. See you in the next one. Cheers.